Welcome to the Think Generational Wealth podcast, and this is episode number 100. I am so appreciative for the fact that I was able to make it to 100 episodes on this podcast. I remember when I released this podcast back in October 2019. It's been 3 years. But one thing I appreciated for the listeners, for the people who downloaded this content, who even enjoy this content, I am so appreciative of this. So for today's episode, the 100th episode, we actually been talking, this year I've been talking a little bit more about business, starting a business. And if you listen to episode 99, I gave 8 steps on how to start a business today. Now I'm going to talk about credit cards, business credit cards that you can apply for today that can get you started. So first of all, I appreciate you listening to this content. I appreciate you taking the time to it. So you could be doing anything in this world, but the fact that you're listening to this podcast is much appreciated. Please subscribe to the podcast if you enjoy the content, like and share it. If you find it valuable, you can also check me out at ThinkGen Wealth, my YouTube channel. You can check me out at Amirson Financial, my Instagram page. I'm looking to actually grow some of this stuff. TikTok at ThinkGen Wealth. So again, where my TikTok, we'll be talking a lot about credit and land investing, and same thing on the YouTube channel. So you're getting a little bit more of an extension. Okay, let's dive right into the content, episode 100. So today's episode, I'm going to suggest or recommend some business credit cards that you can go ahead and get started. You can apply for today and get started. Now, the few things I would like to kind of highlight is, number one, when you are starting your business and now you are getting yourself a business credit card, I would probably recommend 2, at least a minimum, but I wouldn't probably go no more than maybe 4 or 5. And that depends, okay? Now, it depends on what you can handle. I've made mistakes in the past where I probably got a credit card and I didn't probably hit the promotion that they have. Because some of these cards, they have promotions. Maybe you spend X amount of money and you get these X amount of points back, you get this much cash back. So you want to make sure before you get this going, evaluate your situation, evaluate your business. Understand that what are you going to need to start your business? What are you going to need? And the only reason you're doing this is you're doing what we call leveraging other people's money. So OPM, okay? And it could be a private lender, it could be from a bank. The only thing you want to be able to understand is that you're going to be paying back money in interest. So whether you're from a private lender, maybe a transactional lender, or even just from a bank, like I'm about to suggest, understand that you want to make sure you have that 12-month time frame to put as much expenses and actually pay it off. Don't wait till after the 12 months. I'm going through that right now. But again, that's just part of the learning process, okay? Now, the cards I recommend is no annual fee. Number one, we're not doing any annual fee cards. But these are cards that just basically get you started. Now, I am a big component of, I would say, American Express and Chase. Those are the cards I have probably the most with. But it wouldn't hurt for you to try out maybe Capital One has, I know, Discover has. But the more established dominant ones are Chase and American Express, okay? Now, you're going to hear me kind of clicking back and forth. Because this is more so I have basically 2 tabs, and I'm kind of doing a webinar too on this where I can be able to see the information and just be able to hopefully be 100% value or just be accurate as possible. Okay. Now, the 2 cards, let's start with American Express, that are no annual fee and you can actually start with today. You can apply. I would say another stipulation too is to make sure, because you don't have no business credit, you're establishing this. You're going to have to use your credit profile, your personal credit profile, to guarantee the debt. And what they will do is, because your business is not strong enough yet, then what they'll do is they'll use your income to be able to determine how much they'll lend you. That's why it's imperative that you have great relationships with whoever you decide to bank with, open your checking and business account. Whoever you decide to, you want to make sure you have a great relationship with them, because you want to make sure, like, for example, American Express, I have quite a few accounts with them, and it's because of the fact that I already have a relationship, not only on the personal side and the business side too. So you want to use that to your advantage. That's why it's very important to have a strong personal credit profile. Okay, I cannot highlight this any further because it is so imperative that you establish a great credit profile. Okay, now if you're not interested in credit cards, that's okay. You know, you have other ways you can get that going, but for me, I think this is a great way because at least you can use other people's money. You don't have to use your money. Now, the two cards that American Express. Number one is called the Blue Business Cash. That's the Blue Business Cash card. This has a 0 annual fee. And the welcome offer for this card is actually if you spend $3,000 in purchases on your card in the first 3 months, they give you $250 statement credit. Now, one thing I'm going to tell you with these cards, with American Express, these two cards I'm going to recommend or suggest is these two cards are not your quote unquote cash back card. To dive in deep into that, what I mean is that this is more like a membership. So you cannot really redeem it for gift cards and actual cash back, meaning it'll redeem, but it will be just basically for a statement credit. So that's that's going to happen. So you will not get the quote unquote cash back. Okay. Now on this Blue Business Cash card, it's a 0 annual fee. You get a $250 statement credit after you spend $3,000, and then for the first 3 months. After that, once you hit this, which there's not really a hit, but what it is that it's 2% cash back on all purchases up to $50,000 in a calendar year. Meaning that if you got that card in February, you have 1 year to hit $50K in purchases. Once that happens, then you would then only earn 1% cash back on all other purchases. So you earn 2% up to $50K, and after that, you'll only earn 1% cash back. Now, the thing about this card too is it has what they call expending buying power, meaning you can actually American Express will allow you to go over your limit, but you have to understand that you got to make that. So, for example, if your card limit is $2,000 and you spend $3,000, you got to make sure you cover that $1,500 or even pay that extension off, because that's basically how it works in a sense. It's only for a limited time, and you will only do that if you know that, okay, this is not going to be something that's going to be going through cycles. Now, I'm not 100% sure if how that work out. If you don't pay it, do they start to charge you fees on top of that? So you want to make sure you cover that with American Express. If you decide to go with this card, you want to make sure you cover that with American Express. The other card is called the Blue Business Plus card. This one here this is more points versus cash back, but really they're both the same. The only difference is one is points and one is cash. This one here, you earn 2-time points on all eligible purchases up to $50K. You earn 1-time points on all other purchases past $50K. So you want to make sure you really understand that, okay? Then with these cards, there's usually a 0% interest rate. So they don't charge you any interest rate for 1 year. But after that, whatever interest is that collected during that time, it will be charged if it's not paid off. So keep that in mind. If you want to also get your employees card, there's no additional fees if you want to have added your employees. And you want to do that. So if you know you have a business where you're going to have employees, it's probably good for them to have this card. So then it can help you reach that membership or reach that welcome offer. For the Business Plus, you earn 15,000 membership reward. And the same thing, after you spend 3,000 in eligible purchases within the first 3 months of card membership, you will get 15,000 membership points. So these are the two cards I would recommend regarding on the American Express side. They do have other ones. They have the American Express Platinum. Again, I don't recommend any cards right now with annual fees. That's $695. And then they do have what they call American Express Gold, but that's $295. So I would not go that route yet, at least. Okay. So let's not go that route. Now, the other card I'd recommend, Chase has 3 cards I'd recommend. So let's start with number 1, the Chase Business Unlimited. So what that is currently right now for the Chase Business Unlimited, you get $900 in cashback points after you spend $6,000 in purchases the first 3 months after opening. So once you spend $6,000 within the first 3 months, you get $900 cash back. And yes, you do. So don't let anybody tell you, do you get it back or do you not? Yes, you do. And I've hit the bonuses with Chase, and I've seen them give, they do that. That does happen. You get 1.5% cash back on all purchases. So don't matter what purchase you make for your business, you get 1.5% cash back. The APR, just like American Express, you get 12 months to pay that off. So, and there's a 0 annual fee card. Okay. I don't think you get any charges that's why I like Chase and American Express. There's not really a fee if you want to add other employees to your card. So you want to make sure you check that out, but I don't think there is. So that's the first card I would recommend, is the Chase Business Unlimited. Now, this is what I'm about to tell you is, if you were to get all 3 of these cards that I'm going to recommend, and except probably this one here, there's one. There's 2 I recommend, but then there's one if you wanted to complete what they call the Chase Trifecta. So you would get on the Chase Trifecta, you would get these 3 cards and you can use them all together. I actually just got did the Chase Trifecta for myself. So just keep that in mind, that if you decide to go that route, one of those cards will have an annual fee, and I will share it with you. The second card I'd recommend is the Chase Inc. Business Cash Credit Card. The difference with this card is this one has the same thing. You get a $900 bonus back once you spend $6,000 in purchases the first 3 months after opening the account. You get 5% cash back on this card. So this is basically a category card. So depending on what it is, and I think it's like if you want to put your phone bill on there, or let's say if you decide to have internet, you want to put your internet on there, you earn 5% cash back in these business category, but you only earn 1% cash back on all of the purchases. Okay, so if you're not doing any shipping, let's say if you're not doing any shipping, or let's say if you're not doing how would I say, if you're not doing any not just, but this is up to 25,000. So on the 5% cash back, you earn 5% cash back on the first 25,000 and spent in combined purchases. So that could be office supplies, stores, let's say like a Office Depot or Office Max, and internet, cable, and phone services. So any of those will get you 5% cash back. You get 2% cash back in combined purchases and up to 25,000, and that is including gas stations and restaurants. So you only get 2% cash back. After that, you only earn 1% cash back on all the purchases. So you want to keep that in mind. One thing I would admittedly say about Chase I like is, if let's say, for example, you have a Chase business card you have 2 Chase business cards and you have 2 Chase personal cards. So let's just say one thing I like about Chase is that you're able to combine your points. You can transfer your points to different cards if you want, or you can redeem it. You can redeem it for cash. You can redeem it for a gift card, or you can redeem it for a statement credit. So with Chase, you will have that opportunity, whilst with American Express, you will not. Okay. Now, to really go in, let's say, for example, you get these 2 cards, but you say, okay, you know what? I'm ready. I want to do what they call the Chase trifecta. Okay. So the Chase trifecta is what it is that you're just getting 3 cards within that Chase structure. So like the Chase Business Cash, the Chase Business Unlimited, and also now what they call the Chase Business, let me make sure, Business Preferred. So the Chase Business Preferred is basically if you're a Chase consumer and you have Chase credit cards, you probably heard called the Chase Sapphire Preferred. And then what the Chase Sapphire Preferred this is the business version of it. Okay, so you want to keep this in mind. This is the business version of this card. And with this card here, you get 100,000 bonus points after you spend 15,000 on purchases in the first 3 months after account opening. And that's $1,000 cash back or 1,200 tourist rewards. So you get $1,000 back. So basically Chase points are 1 for 1. So if you, let's say, for example, you buy something $50, depending on what it is that depending on the category you're satisfying, in this case, you get 1 for 1. So let's say you spend $50, that's actually 1%, right? So 1% of $50, that would be basically how you want to think of it. In this case, with this one here, you get, now they give you 1,200, they give you more points this is basically almost a advertising and travel card. So this one here, you earn 3 times points. Earn 3 points per $1. So for every dollar, you earn 3 points for the first 150,000 spent in combined purchasing in follow categories each account anniversary year. So that means if you open that account in December of 2022, by December 2023, you can spend up to 150,000. Okay. And that's in this card here is 3 times points, shipping and purchases. You get 3 times points, advertising, on social media sites and search engines like Google, let's say YouTube, Facebook. Let's say you do some marketing on Facebook, Instagram. You can this would be a good card. You can actually put that on. Internet, cable, and phone services. So this one here, you're only earning 3 times points. Remember the other card, the Chase Business Cash, you earn 5%. So that would be something you want to make a decision on. Maybe use this card more for shipping, more for advertising. So if you're doing more marketing, you probably use this card. That would probably be the card. And maybe the other card, you could probably use it more for 5% and get your internet and cable and phone services. And these points don't expire. So that's a good thing with Chase. And another thing with Chase, with this card here, now travel. So travel, let's say you decide to book a hotel. Let's say you're deciding to use Uber. Let's say you decide to buy a plane ticket. This would be the card to use. You get 3 points. You get 3 times points on this card, okay? And again, with Chase cards, you can combine all your gift cards. You can combine all your cards. So if you have multiple accounts with Chase, you can combine these cards and you can actually put all your points on the one card if you decide to, and so on. Okay. And in all Chase cards, there's no additional cost for employees, so you don't have to worry about that. So if you decide to add employees, so you can be able to hit the minimum spend, the 15,000, you can do that. Just understand that if you're going to do this, one thing I will highly recommend, and I'm not encouraging anybody to go into debt, this is not what this is about. What this is about is that you're establishing a business. You're using other people's money, and you're actually creating multiple avenues of credit. So just like on your personal profile, the only difference is on a business profile, you're not putting like a mortgage or car note on there. That's not what that is established. But on a business, you're doing the same thing. The only difference is you want to make sure you are hitting these spends. Okay, if you don't have big purchases coming up, don't do it. Do not do it. Okay, I will dive in deep later on, which is called credit card arbitrage. Sorry, credit card arbitrage, and I will show you how you can actually be able to use your credit card to be able to fund certain deals that you may have, especially let's say for real estate. Okay, that's something that goes with if you have a relationship. And with the business preferred, the Chase Business Preferred, just understand there's an annual fee with this card. It's $95. But this card, you're only going to use this card is if you want to complete the Chase trifecta. And what I mean, the Chase trifecta can happen not only on the business side, but it can happen on the personal side too. Another thing you want to keep in mind is that Chase does do what they call the 524. They are very strict on this rule. So meaning that you can only get 5 cards within a 24 month period, which is 2 years. So you cannot open, like, let's say if you go open 3 Chase account, 3 Capital One accounts, and then let's say you open 1 American Express and you decide to open a Chase. So that's 5 cards. If you decide to apply for another Chase, they are not going to extend out business to you. They are not going to do business with you because you've already met the 524 rule. So you'd have to wait until one of those cards fall off. Then you can apply for another Chase card. So keep that in mind too, okay? Hopefully this helps. Hopefully this is of value for you. I think this should be able to at least get you started, get you going. These are the 4 cards, and I actually added a 5th card. Capital One, Discover, they do have business cards, but they are not the heavyweights compared to Chase and American Express. Those two dominate the market, okay? I much appreciate you taking the time to listen to this podcast episode. Until next week, much love and appreciate it. Peace.